What's up? Today we want to talk about being comfortable, comfortability. You know, as far as, when you're interacting with that opposite sex, how important is it for that person to be comfortable with you? Because, like I say, I've seen talk over the internet, as far as, what turns women on, or to be specific, what makes a woman get wet, and why is it that some women don't get wet sometimes? You know what I'm saying? And it could be a lot of variables there, you know what I'm saying? But today we want to speak in terms of being comfortable, and that was the thing that I've saw as far as, I've heard people speak about, when a woman is comfortable with you, that's when she gonna get wet. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's big, you know what I'm saying? Because again, sometimes us as men and even women notice how they get wet for certain guys versus how they didn't get wet with this guy. And women answer this question. I guess this is more for you. Do you get wetter when you feel more comfortable with a guy versus when you really not into him? And shout out to Ron Wills, as he say, you giving that pity sex. When you get that pity sex, when you really don't want to do it, but you kind of just, want to get laid, or like I said, you've been in a drought, but at the same time, you're not getting wet, you're not bringing out that wild side, and is it that comfortability that helps you bring out that wild side, that person that, like you say, that person that makes you feel safe, because whenever, and that's big too, because women always look to men for protection, right? You always hear this debate about women being independent and whatnot, but like I say, you always hear people rebuttal the fact that, okay, well, when it's 3:00 in the morning and you hear noise downstairs, you looking at me to go downstairs and see who it is. So women look for men for that protection, and so if a woman feels comfortable whenever she's in your arms, I think it's only natural that, she gonna loosen up a little bit, and at that point you may see that wild side, and you may wonder too, even as men, like, okay, like, dang, well, when I was with this woman, she showed me a whole sexual side that I never got to with this other woman. And peep the span of relationships, and even the vibe of, those different women, if you ever, been through that as men, and even as women. Like I said, if you notice again that you got wetter with one guy versus another guy, what was that X factor that got you there versus that didn't? You know what I'm saying? And correct me if I'm wrong, because like she's like, Cleo Soul say, man, keep me safe when I'm in your arms, But whenever a woman feels safe in a man's arms, again, she can let that guard down. She can just be free. You know what I mean? And I feel like that touches women on a deeper level. You know what I'm saying? Like she say, there's a warmth in your kiss. Like the kiss even feels different whenever a woman feels comfortable with a man. You know what I'm saying? So how important is that for women, and even as us for men? Like, to be comfortable with a woman, to be to the point where you feel like you can open up to that woman too. You know what I'm saying? And get to a point where you're open to exploring, your wild side. Because let's be honest, like, sometimes us as men, we've been with that good girl, if you would, again, that didn't show that wild side, versus kind of like that, I don't want to say that crazy chick or ghetto chick, but that other chick that's a little more free-spirited and a little more experienced, a little more seasoned, you know what I'm saying? You got a chance to see that wild side, but like I said, it's all about, being comfortable with that person, so that you can open up those doors, so you can unlock, those levels of sexuality that she may have, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we all want good sex, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes we do We do rush the process. We don't take our time to get to know that person and to make that person feel comfortable, but what do you do? You know what I'm saying? If it's somebody that you just, starting to vibe with, what do you do to make that person comfortable? What do you do to keep them comfortable? And what makes you comfortable?